We're back for bookkeeping part 2, and let's remember the profit and loss statement again and the categories that we are going to be taking into account. We have our income categories, that's money coming in from revenue transactions. So essentially, our clients paying us for services. Cost of goods sold are direct expenses related to services provided. And then all other expenses are going to go under the expense categories. And then you're going to get your net operating income or net operating loss, also known as net profit or loss. So let's look at how to categorize these transactions and also populate a profit and loss inside of 17 Hats. Okay, we are back in 17 Hats and we are in the bookkeeping area of 17 Hats. And we have 14 transactions that need to be categorized, which we imported right into the bookkeeping area of 17 Hats. So in the first video, we covered the setup of bookkeeping under account settings. And now we're going to start categorizing these transactions, understanding that these are related to profit and loss categories. So let's go ahead and do a few together. So for example, this is an expense to subscriptions, or also let's say for the sake of this example, these are dues and subscriptions, and so we want to go ahead and say that's what they are. We want to categorize those, and then verify, meaning I want to bring it in. So you can clearly see that when it's verified, it turns white, and those are still needing to be categorized are in this yellow color. I can also use the drop down here to add a receipt, which is pretty cool. I can go back and edit it if I need to, and I can also split it if it has to be split between two different amounts. Pretty cool. And so all of that can be done with the transaction that got brought in right from the bank account. So then you're going to continue down this list and categorize these so that way you can be able to see them in the profit and loss. Let's just do a couple more together. This right here, $500, is, for example, a transfer in of myself to the business. So I'm going to go ahead and select this category. And in this case, this is not income coming in, it's a transfer. So I'm just going to choose transfer between accounts. Why do I do that? Because I do not want this to come in as a sale or a payment from a customer. So I'm going to click on verify. I'm going to continue down this list, and then I'm going to move over into reports. Now, as I continue down the list to start categorizing these transactions, again, I can clearly see the white ones have already been categorized and the brown ones are still needing to be categorized. Also, when I see the area here on top that says to be categorized, this is also letting me know this still needs to be categorized and these have already been categorized. So if I want to be able to filter, I can filter by only categorized, or I can filter by those that still need to be categorized, or I can look at all transactions. One last thing I want to share with you here in this area, of course, you can use these filters here on top, but you can also, for a sales transaction, not only add a receipt, edit, or split it, you can also apply this to an invoice. So if an invoice has been paid and this is the payment to that invoice, you can apply that to an invoice if you have the invoice inside of 17 Hats, and we will go ahead and demonstrate that as we start building out the 17 Hats. Okay, I'm going to continue categorizing, and then again, I will see you in reports. Okay, I just did a refresh, and it shows that everything has been categorized, meaning I have 0 to be categorized. Everything is in white. So if I click on categorize, they're all here. If I click on to be categorized, I won't see anything because I'm all done. And of course, I can click on all transactions. So next, let's click on reports, profit and loss. So when I came into my reports, profit and loss, something doesn't look right. It only shows the $5,000 in sales, but I know there's more transactions this year. What you'll want to do is come over here where it says date, and you can update the dates here, or a quick select is you can just choose your year to date. That's going to give you your year to date for this particular year. And then it's going to give you your sales, in this case, money in related to business revenue, money out related to expenses from the business, and then it's going to give you your net profit or loss. So in this case, we have 5,000 in sales. We have the total expenses that net out to $4,026.22. So in this case, it's a little different. You would usually have your expenses come down here under the total of expenses, and then you'd get your net profit or loss. That's how you would commonly look at a profit and loss statement, but it's the same idea. Now, this is pretty cool. If you wanted to dig deeper, you can click on this hyperlink and it'll actually show you what that transaction is, which is pretty cool. You can also go ahead and click on show transactions, which is going to basically give you an itemized review of your profit and loss. Now, this can get pretty busy looking if you are doing this year round. So you usually want to look at your profit and loss at a high level, and then you can click through if you want to go deeper into what that transaction looked like. And that's how you use the profit and loss report. Again, there are other reports inside of the 17 Hats areas, and we'll look at those as we build out 17 Hats. But now you know how to use the bookkeeping area by importing the transactions into 17 Hats, categorizing the transactions, and then ultimately being able to look at the profit and loss report. If there's ever a time you have to manually enter an income or expense transaction, just click on new income. You can enter that there. It will fall here under categorization, same thing as a new expense. And that's your introduction to the bookkeeping feature in 17 Hats. Hope that was helpful.